Hey, what's going on, guys? Todd here of Inside Edge Capital. Hope you're well. We're going to do a video update here on Palantir. Earnings out. I want to look at the technicals. I want to look at the valuation, look at the earnings that just came out, draw some comparisons to another massive stock that I'm sure you have heard of, and see if we can put it in perspective. So here we go. Let's dive in. Be sure to check out those disclosures if you have any questions. Here's what we're going to cover. We are going to hit the indexes. We're at a pretty key decision point right now, I think, in the technicals of the indexes. I will tell you that we're about in the active opportunities portfolio that we manage on Savvy Trader for Inside Edge clients as well. We have about 45% cash, and we're right at that decision point, whether we go up or down. We'll take a look at that. And then I said I want to focus on Palantir, some really pretty amazing stuff going on, and then talk about the portfolios that we are offering over on Savvy Trader. Okay, let's go. So technicals to start. Now this is what I'm showing you is a couple excerpts of slides that we presented earlier to our members and subscribers. So just looking at the monthly candles of the market, there's two things that are really important to take away here on the stock indexes. And number one are the massive monthly candles that just printed from April. So we had we opened at the top of the range in April, traded all the way down to the late 21 highs in the S&P, and then the early 22 highs in the NASDAQ, and then closed up in the range in April. So we had this big round trip in April, forming those crazy bullish candles in the indexes that, again, bottomed out at really key technical resistance, become support, etc. So pretty interesting. On the technical point of view, those of you who are still, watching Elliott Wave, there's a few things happening here. The 100% price projection in the S&P. So basically, you take the percent distance traveled from 48.35 to 54.81. That percent distance traveled is equality, sort of an equal swing move. That would be at 5783. You have the 78% retracement of the big February, March, April sell-off. That's going to be right here. Plus, you have the 200-day moving average. So altogether, you have a big zone of resistance here on the daily chart, pretty much like right in here. So that's going to be the decision point. If you break through, then we're going to be looking to make a move up and go test some highs. Okay. Come on back, present, and go. All right. Same thing with the NASDAQ. So 100% of would-be wave 1 verse 3 is at 20,455. 786 is there, and the 200-day moving average. So this is a big decision point. Okay. As I said, we're carrying about 45% cash. I'm showing you the whole portfolio that we are carrying within the active opportunities model at Inside Edge. That's my wealth management business. So we have about 5 total different models. Active Opps is, we did our best to name it. Active opportunities. It's the highest frequency moving in and out. We've put hedges on, downside option protection. We're going to be moving in and out of, high growth, high momentum stocks. So that's a live portfolio that we offered to clients of Inside Edge. We just opened it up. And then every move I make is placed in this new third-party company that we're working with, Savvy Trader, which has been great. And here are the positions we're in, all the metrics, blah, blah, blah. It's great. So I'll show you how to get signed up with that if it's something you're interested in. But I want to talk about Palantir. It is my largest position right now. So today was up 8%. Total returns up 34%. I'm carrying 1,200 shares from an average cost of $88.93. Okay. Now, earnings came out in Palantir, and as I mentioned, here's actually the average is at 88, so that arrow was off right there, but that's okay. So where are we right now? I think we're starting to go attack, this would be a triple test high of the, the 125, 124 area here. Start getting to 130 to 140, from a tactical point of view, you might start to consider that overbought. But, I'm not going to step in front of an insane stock like this. Now, on the on the fundamental side, here are the Q1 results. So they came in at 883 million in revenues. Estimates of 862, beat the street by 2.5%. Year over year, same quarter last year, 883 versus 634. That's a 39% year over year of the same quarter change. Huge, huge move. Okay. Now, the one thing I wanted to focus on this particular slide is the Capex. I can't tell you right here that I'm an absolute Palantir expert. It's a hard company to understand. They have, private sector civilian applications, their platform. Then they've got the Gotham platform, which is for governments. And, it's pretty amazing what they're doing. And not a lot of people fully understand exactly what they do in terms of data analytics and streamlining processes for the public and private sector. But with so much compute power and being a software company, I was expecting their Capex to be higher. It's $6 million on 883 top line revenue. And I'm like, how is that possible, generating $304 million in free cash flow? And as I threw it past ChatGPT, and it said Palantir reported 6.2 in Capex, doesn't disclose specific investments in GPUs or semis. Foundry, that's their private sector offering, likely relying on high performance computing resources. Given the industry's trend towards increased GPU utilization for AI workloads, it's plausible that Palantir leverages GPUs through cloud service providers or partnerships, which is that's what Apple does. That's how they keep their Capex low relative to the other hyperscalers. And just kind of include these graphics to show how Palantir, the company, breaks down. But, like I was saying, the Capex is really low compared to what they're doing. And it's actually viewed to be on the decrease, right? So we look at free cash flow generation. It's going, 321 to 1.4 billion, 1.9 to 2.6 to 4.2. Now, that's my wife calling. So what I want to do here is okay, look at the forward estimates for earnings of this company, right? We're doing, 2.8 billion in top line revenue in 24, projected to do 3.8 this year, 4.9 next year, 6.5. But yet EPS is only for all 4 quarters is 58 cents this year and 71 cents next year, which is 187 times this year's earnings. And 153, that should say 2026, 153 times next year's earnings. It's really, really expensive. It's the new Nvidia cult stock. You got to be careful with it. We are moving up on the triple top with so much premium, so much valuation, so much momentum in an otherwise very tricky tape. I am okay holding it, and it's the largest position in our Active Opps right now at about a 10%, but, I'm watching it. And, as I start looking inside the fundamentals of this company, they're running a 60, 80% gross margin. And I'm like, boy, that's pretty unbelievable here. And then you start to look at the projection for the ROE, return on equity, 25% on ROE. That's pretty impressive. And I'm like, this reminds me of a different company, another one. Asinine valuation at 53 times 2026 earnings. And again, gross margins running the 80%, free cash flow, 1.5, 1.9, 2.6 billion. Free cash flow margin 31, 39, 40, 38, 41, 45, 49% free cash flow margins. This kind of reminds me of Nvidia. And I understand it's a totally different company, but for a company that's running such unbelievable margins, generating so much free cash flow, Capex is under control. I need to understand better how they can get away with spending so little. Maybe I'm showing a little bit of ignorance on the business model. But I'm like, okay, that's what Nvidia did. And during 2019, They were doing 26, 39, 28, 30, and then they started to ramp up 40s into 50s for free cash flow margin, with the gross margin 60s, 70s, and not even into the 80%. Now, this is a hardware business. This is a software business. Nvidia is a hardware and software business because they've got the full stack with CUDA. But, Palantir is a software business, so they're going to run better margins, justifying a higher valuation. And I'm like, okay, well, the current PE on Palantir is huge, 518. And I'm like, okay, what did Nvidia do before its growth run? As I said, I was looking back into the 2020, 21, 22, so on and so forth. Nvidia in 23 was running a 200 PE, 180 PE right before it went into its hypergrowth breakout in the stock. As its earnings and estimates going forward, the street started to see the earning potential in this company, and it grew into its valuation. And that's how Nvidia, went from $38, $40 post split to $140 as the PE was dropping. And I'm wondering if Palantir might be at that point where the stock's going to break through that double top and it's going to grow into its valuation, and PE is going to drop as analysts look forward and start to up the 2026 EPS. Where'd it go? Right here. EPS, if it's going to start to revise those numbers higher, we shall see. But, that's why it's the combination of technicals and fundamentals that, we really need to pay attention, especially a stock like this. So anyways, here's information on, the portfolio that I'm doing here. It's a new third-party company that we're working with. I'm beginning to wind down trading analysis, believe it or not. It's been going since 2012 to focus on Inside Edge, which is the RIA wealth management business. But we're still going to keep an active component. I'm forever a trader. That's what I've done forever. I've been working up for the last 25 years to I guess put myself in front of you and say I think I've earned the right to present myself as a money manager. I've been trading since I was 18, and traded on Wall Street for a hedge fund, and prop traded before that, traded for a living. And now it's time to go into the marketing phase. It's, I'm 46 now. I've been doing it since I was 22 for markets. And now it's time to, go into the marketing and markets mode. But, forever we're going to keep an active component of what we're doing. So that's going to be the Active Opps portfolio within Inside Edge. Everything we do is going to be updated on Savvy Trader. It's great. You get an app. You get push notifications, text message, full details as to how the positions break down. I post comments there all the time. It's actually an awesome platform, and I'm talking to the owner. He's been great. Been watching it for a while. So information's there if you're interested. Okay. And I believe that is it. Thank you. Yep. There's the team at Inside Edge. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video update. Hope that helps. See you guys.